worked in the mines, and they were at that time in the 50s, early 50s, or before that, just before it, it looked like closing down for a while. So, and we were in the pub, and bloke said, "There's a army van out there looking for volunteers." So I said, "Yeah, well, that's fair enough, we'll go." So there's 4 of us went and signed up, and then we went and done our training over in Greeda in New South Wales here, and then when we got drafted out, we were sent up to the 67 Battalion in Japan, Occupation Forces, and that's where we stopped there for a few years, and then we were ready to come home, and the Korean War started. This is good to going back now too, because I had 2 mates from home that were killed, and yeah, but it's good to go back, and just for their sake, remember a bit of these things. It's good to go back and remember a lot of the other boys that never come back, I had a moment when the Chinese come into it, they'd come in, we had to bolt, they come in and surround us at the back, and they said make down to a cutting where boys were forming up again, and we took off, and we were running across out in the open. There were bullets flying and ricocheting and all, and I got the stitch. So I went over, and my mate Jonesy, he stopped, and he said he thought I was hit, and I was gasping, and he said, "Guy," he said, "you hit?" And I said, "No, I got the stitch." And he said, "Well, we'll get the hell out of here," he said. So he picked me up, and we took off, but yeah, it was, we were lucky to get out of it, actually. Oh, that was an old, it was Shang Ti, I think it was called. We left here in Sydney and went up, and yeah, that was just like all ships during the war. It was pretty rough, yeah. But yeah, it was good. We went from here to Hong Kong first, and then we went and stopped at Hong Kong, and so that was funny, because a lot of us never had much money, and we started flogging the blankets off the ship. We had all the Chinese, a big heap of them on the wharf, and we were selling the blankets, and one of the lieutenants yelled out, "What the hell was going on down there?" And the Chinese took off, and we were standing there with blankets around there. We got a bit of a roasting over that, but it just as well he did, otherwise we would have dismantled the ship. But we felt sorry for the civilians mostly, because they bought the refugees that come down, they'd get away from them. And there was little kids, we used to give them a bit of chocolate if we got close enough to them, but a lot of them, it made you cry every time, because oh, you hear the little kids. Yeah, they'd come down and you'd see their brothers or a brother carrying a piggybacking their probably sisters or brothers and that. And some of the poor little buggers, they weren't even crying. They had pieces shot out of their arms. They never cried. Yeah. They were the ones I felt sorry for, poor little buggers. They didn't want the war, but they did suffer. Yeah, actually, Greenie, when the shell come over, we were, he was only about 100, 200 yards off him, that's all. And there was two of us had dug a foxhole, and there was only enough for two of us, and one of the other boys come over, a corporal, and we heard the shell coming over, and they jumped in and left me, and I was laying on top of them. And geez, it went up, and Greenie got killed with a bit of shrapnel coming in and killed him. Yeah, but shelling was all right. You could hear them coming, but mortars and that was just a bit of a whoosh and a bang, and that was it. And that's when the mate and I were after the blue. We were sitting on the side of the road. That was a funny one. And a sniper had a go at we were pretty close together, only a couple of feet from each other, eating a tin of beans. And a sniper had a go and we blamed a Yank. There was a Yank not far away, Yankee paratrooper, and he was, don't know what he was shooting at, but he was shooting at something, and we blamed him. And the next, only a few seconds later, he had a go at us again, and he took the brim off the side of my mate's hat. And he said, "That's a bloody sniper." Anyway, they spotted him, and the bloke snuck up on him and with the brim fixed him up, and that was it. We were blaming this Yank. We got shot out a few times, and we were having a rest, and they opened up on us, and I hid behind a bush, and it was just like a rose bush. One of the blokes took off down towards him, and he never had his rifle. We had held out till he was going the wrong way. He turned around and shot him back over the hill. You laugh at him, And another time we had, we used to have it in time, turns going full on our section's water bottles up. And it was my turn this afternoon, and I went down to the well and filled them up and got halfway up the hill, and I had all these water bottles on me, and I heard a plane coming. And I turned around and here's this plane coming straight at me. I threw the water bottles and dived in the ground that was one of us. And he just took off, he come in, he buzzing the hill we were on, Yeah, it was funny. Well, if it wasn't for the Yanks giving us warm stuff, we would have froze to death. A lot of blokes did freeze to death, but not so much Australians, but a lot of other nations. There's some of them froze to death. The winter was unbelievable. It was that cold. You couldn't touch. The Yanks give us gloves with a trigger finger in it, so you couldn't touch the bolt of your rifle. You're stuck to it. It was that cold. Yeah. And we'd go up to the well and lean against the well and drop a big rock down to break the ice to fill our water bottles up. It was the coldest. I think it was the coldest year they had there for about 20 years, and we had to be in it. The winds off Siberia and that, they freeze. I think we fought the last trench fort, but most of it was just attacking hills. The hills were just hills on hills. You finish up, you get up them all right if you had one leg shorter than the other, because the fighting that was generally just happened that quick, you know, unless they told you before, you know, they told you before that you're going to attack that place, and you knew what to expect. But it's all right after the first blue you had, you know what to expect, but a lot of times they'd try and ambush you, and they'd come in at night and blowing those blasted bugles, squeaky bugles. Yeah, I remember one bloke, a lot of the bugles they blew were signals for them to attack them or either draw or something like that. But they were blowing these. He stood up out of his foxhole and told him what he'd do with the bugle if he never shut up, where he'd put it. He said, "We told you, get down, you stupid buggers, you won't last long." Yeah, that's the fight was like that. You'd just go along and all of a sudden it'd be on. Yeah. As I said, unless they told you, you know, that, oh, you're going to attack, this place has got to go, or the villages, and that was bad, fighting in the villages. You had to put your head down to get in the doors, and that you didn't know whether you get it blown off or anything. They were bad. And then you couldn't do much because there was women and kids in there, you know. You couldn't, sometimes it was hard really, fighting in the villages, because you didn't know, you couldn't throw grenades in there because of the kids, I think. But anyway, we got around it. It wasn't bad. But I felt sorry for all the kids. Poor buggers. They don't know where their parents were or anything, you know. Yeah, make you cry when you see them. But they never complained. They weren't going along crying. And some of them had some horrible wounds, you know. Yeah. One for the Yanks again, we were starved. Yeah, they were with bully beef and biscuits. We had them for a while, but you couldn't blame the cooks and that, because we were up in the hills a lot of the time. They couldn't get tucker up to us. Then the Yanks give us these cave rations, and they weren't very full in there, but there were 3 meals, you know, the last 3 days or 3. We had them all in one go. You know, and then we scrounged around. Sometimes in the villages we even pinched, I suppose, the kids' pets, rabbits. We had them, veggies, and dug them up and made stews out of them. And, one time we were up in the mountains, and a bloke come up with his his cow, carting wood up for us, and he got up there, and I think it was some of the boys from A Company. Then anyway, they shot the cow and they carted it up. poor old bugger, he went down there all crying. It's probably his only possession. We ate the cow. Yeah.